How much have you guys spent on Pokemon cards? Have you spent $10? Have you spent hundreds? Have you spent thousands? Well, if you're like me who spent thousands and you weren't sure how to protect your cards, I feel like this video will definitely help you out in case you're just starting the hobby. And I'm assuming that if you do have thousands, you do know how to protect it, but just in case, I came up with this list of how to protect your cards to make sure that they keep their value, and if you want to sell them down the line, you won't really have any problems, and that way you can say, hey, these are near mint, and you can sell them for near mint prices. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the PokeRage channel, and like I said, I'm going to go over my tips as to how to protect your Pokemon cards from wear and tear or just father time itself. So as a kid, when I first started collecting cards, I always made this mistake, and I've seen it too recently. People just kind of, especially kids, they throw their cards just in a binder. Not saying they're all expensive cards, common cards, those cards don't really matter. Although I do, honestly, when I do put my cards in a binder, let it be a full set, I will sleeve every single card that's in the binder. Maybe for aesthetic reasons, that way everything is sleeved, it looks nice, but just in case, like, if you want to sell a full set, and you have those commons and uncommons and rares that aren't worth all that much, but if part of a whole set, that way you can be honest with the seller and be, hey, these are all near mint, they've been sleeved right out of the package, this is what's going on. So honestly, before you put any cards in a binder, I would say sleeve up every one that you can and then just put them in there. Say for cards you don't want to put in a binder, or you kind of want to show off. Now I have seen these, they have these top loader binders now, they're kind of new to me anyway, I've recently seen. But before you put in the card in the top loader, you want to make sure you sleeve it up first, because if you put it in, you're going to scratch the surface and it's just going to get further damaged. Now if you go on Amazon, you can get these sleeves and top loaders. Top loaders are very cheap. I mean, I have 1,000 of these things. I mean, they're laying around. These are a dime a dozen for me. I mean, every time I buy a card, somebody sells them, as they should. But if you go on Amazon, Ultra Pro sells like a 500 sleeve pack for I think it's like $6. So it's pretty cheap to get the sleeves, top loaders as well. I'm sure if you're buying cards, you're getting top loaders from people, and they just accumulated. I have like 3 or 4 Elite Trainer boxes full of these things just sitting around. Obviously, I don't sell a lot, so I don't know what to do with them. I could sell these, but yeah, top loaders are the way to go to protect your cards. Now, to take it one step further, there's these things called card savers. They're bigger, but they also surround the card more, so they give a little bit more protection. I'll give you an example. So right here I have a Miriam card from Scarlet and Violet. As you can see, it's an Ultra Pro, but it's essentially a card saver. Card saver is the same exact thing. As you can see, it offers a little bit more protection than a card that would be in, say, this thing. Like, just use your imagination. Like, if it's in there, there's not much of a difference, but also with the card saver, you see that the Miriam is sleeved up, and you can see that there's a sticky note kind of thing on there attached to the sleeve, not the card itself, the sleeve. Don't put it on the card. But that way it's easier to pull out instead of just kind of digging your hand in there. You could potentially bend the card or anything like that when trying to pull it out. So that's why I put those little sticky things on the back of the card, on the sleeve. That way it can pull out easier. Going back to my initial thing, so the binders, if you have a binder, don't use a 3-ring binder when you're doing anything with valuable cards, or hell, any Pokemon cards. So I did that as a kid. I don't even know if they had these back then. I don't know. I mean, I was like 10 when I started collecting these things. But what could potentially happen is you have the 3-ring binder, and say you have a lot of cards in the set. Well, if you close it up, the metal ring will imprint on the card, and that will take away the value of the card. Now, again, if it's a common, uncommon, anything like that, then it doesn't matter unless you're like looking at like first edition cards or pristine 10s. But yeah, you want to avoid just using 3-ring binders, only because they will eventually damage the card. I think when I got back into this, I was going through my Aerodactyl. I think I had Aerodactyl from Fossil, and you could see like a little indent on the card, and I was like, well, there goes the value of that, because I think CGC will make it, I think, like a 6. I think they'll automatically drop it down to a 6 if they see like some sort of like binder damage or anything on the card. When it comes to bulk, I know a lot of collectors or sellers out there, they resell bulk, and they want to say, hey, keep them in near mint, wrap it in saran wrap, put it in like a large box from USPS, because it has a flat rate box. Yeah, it's like $18 or so, and then ship it off. But I would definitely say just keep it in a trainer box, saran wrap it, and then that way you know how much you have. It's definitely easier to keep track of too when you have them all saran wrapped and organized. So zip up binders are definitely the way to go. I think they offer the most protection when it comes to your cards, only because like I have a lot of unzipped binders, but so for this here, this is like my collection of like the original set, like base set, Fossil, Jungle, Rocket, they're all in here. And the reason I use like a zip up is because that way you can't get debris inside. I remember I had my cards in the basement, and there was some dirt and stuff like getting in the top of the cards, because whatever happens, stuff falls, debris falls from the walls or whatever, and it gets in the binders. At least with the zip up, you're not gonna have stuff fall in. At least they're protected inside and nothing can get in. Which brings me to my next point. If you're storing these cards, say if you don't have a zip up, but you want to keep them somewhere, just keep them in like a cool, dry place. Don't have a hot ass room like a sauna or anything like that, because it will warp the cards, and there could be potential like maybe water damage or just condensation or anything. But definitely like keep it like a cool room. I know like there's some cases, like graded cases, that are like temperature controlled, which is crazy. But that's a little extreme, I think, in my opinion. But if because they're already in plastic, like they're closed up, sealed shut. But if you can't do that, yeah, absolutely, just keep in a cool, dry place, and that way you won't have to deal with like warping or damage from any of that. So as you can see behind me, like I have my sealed collection. Some of them are in display cases, some of them aren't. If it's a nice sealed display piece, I would absolutely grab a case for that, like a plastic case that you can build around it. I know my guy sends me stuff when I ask him for it, but the only reason is because if you don't, and like something crazy happens, I don't know, you're in an earthquake and the fucking place is shaking and something falls, next thing you know, you rip the seal's ripped and the value of it is just completely gone. So absolutely just get a case for it, like a plastic case. I know some people use like the cereal or something from Target. I don't know exactly what I don't like them. I just don't like the look of them. But the Elite Trainer boxes kind of fit in like this case from Target, which are fine. But I like mine to be like just clear and like nothing else going on with them. So my last point that I think kind of seems to be overlooked a little bit is don't keep them in the sun. So if you keep, I don't know if you guys noticed, you're walking by like window shopping or something, and something's been in there for like years or something. It just could be like an old store, and they put them out in the front, and you see that the coloration is changed. That's because like the UV light from the sun will mess up the color, and if it's you just don't want that. So in my room, as you can see, I have a blackout curtain for my windows. That, because my stuff is right against the wall and right by the window, that thing never opens, because I don't want to risk having the sun come in and ruin any of the coloration, ruining the value of the stuff. So if you can, try to keep it out of the sun. Blackout curtains are definitely the best way to do it. So let me know, down below if you guys just started collecting, if you guys are doing any of these things to your cards to make sure that they're all well protected. Also let me know, how much you guys spent on your cards. I'm just curious to see what other collectors are investing in on this. So yeah, if you could, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.